Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas?
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Lescavage? Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
Ms. McDermott? Here. Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson? Here. Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Of 10 of 11 present.
For the record, Mr. Lescavage texted me from Mexico. The link won't work. He's trying to get in, just so everybody knows.
All right.
The link won't work.
We'll recognize him if he ends up joining. All right. We have public comment on the proposed ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County. I have no slips up here. Anybody for public comment? Anybody on the Zoom?
No.
No?
To adjourn?
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. First public hearing is adjourned. The next one will start at 5:55. We have 2 minutes.
Hello, this is Joshua. Unfortunately, I can't hear anything coming out of the Zoom call.
Okay, Mr. Ritchie, are you looking to comment publicly on one of the public hearings? Well, okay. I know he's. Yeah. Can you have him call? Is he? What, did he call? No. Did he call you? Yes. Can he just call this number and we can just put him on?
Speaker.
Yeah, and we'll put him on speaker. Can I? I'll just say it to you. 570-706-3188. We already had the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas?
Here.
Here.
Ms. McDermott? Here. Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson? Here. Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
All present.
All right, thank you. We'll have public comment on the proposed ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County. This is the second public hearing. Anybody for public comment? Anybody on the Zoom? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. We'll start our voting session at 6:01. All right, it's 6:01 p.m. I'd like to call the regular voting session to order. If everybody, we already had Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. We'll have roll call. Miss Lawrence, sorry.
Mr. Hawes?
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Liscavige?
Here.
Ms. McDermott? Here. Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Here. Ms. Stevenson? Here. Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
All present.
All right, we do have one ceremonial proclamation to make for National Employees Week. Whereas Luzerne County officers and employees of the Luzerne County Division of Corrections have the difficult and often dangerous assignment of ensuring the custody, safety, and well-being of the inmates at Luzerne County Correctional Facilities. whereas their increasingly complex and demanding position is essential to the day-to-day operations of the Luzerne County Division of Corrections, and without them it would be impossible to achieve the foremost institutional goals of care, custody, and control. Whereas correctional officers and employees put themselves in harm's way to advance the mission of protecting the public, staff, and inmates. These commensurate corrections professionals consistently place themselves in danger to protect individuals whom society has generally cast aside. And whereas the commitment, courage, and tenacity exhibited by corrections officers and employees of the Luzerne County Division of Corrections through the performance of these demanding and often conflicting roles deserve our deepest appreciation and utmost respect. Now, therefore, we, the Luzerne County Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 5th to 11th, 2024 to be National Corrections Officers and Employees Week in Luzerne County in honor of the men and women whose dedication, diligence, and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe. So thank you very much, and if one of you would like to come up here
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. You entered 8.
Absolutely.
You entered 8, 5, 4, 7.
Once again, thank you very much for all of your hard work. We know that it's certainly not an easy job.
Well done, and thank you.
Okay. Do we have any deletions from the voting session agenda? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, John? Mr.
Motion?
Chairman?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The agenda is approved. Oh, yeah, Mr. Skeen, would you mind announcing the executive session? I apologize.
Sure. This evening we had an executive session where we discussed settlement of litigation.
You might got.
Wherein we discussed the settlement of litigation and a personnel matter.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now have public comment on voting session agenda items only. I do have several slips here, and I have one online comment. Let me start with the slips here first. I have Tony Persia. Go ahead, sir. If you want to state your municipality that you live in. I see you wrote your street, but not the municipality. And then you can start your comment.
Yes, my name is Tony Perzia. I live at 865 Bennett Street, Luzerne, Pennsylvania. I was just concerned about this appointment that you have to watch over the elections, and comment. I have concerns about that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Herbert Hall. Sir, is this comment about the possible hiring of the engineering consultant firm?
No.
Okay, we'll have you wait till the end of the meeting if that's okay. All right. Before we get into the rest of public comment for members that are here on the Zoom, I do have one email. This is from Claudia Glennon, and this says, "Dear Luzerne County Council members, I am writing to strongly voice my objection to the appointment of Benjamin Herring to the Luzerne County Ethics Commission. The Ethics Commission is tasked with serving as an independent and objective body that oversees the operations of Luzerne County government. Mr. Herring's current lawsuit with Luzerne County presents a significant conflict of interest for an individual who would be serving on this commission. Additionally, this role demands the highest standards of impartiality and ethical conduct. Mr. Herring has repeatedly and publicly made homophobic and anti-LGBTQ plus comments from this through his affiliation with the racial right-wing fringe group, the Citizens Advisory of Pennsylvania. Whereas I support Mr. Herring's personal right to hold and affirm whatever beliefs he chooses, these actions directly contradict the values of inclusivity and fairness essential to an independent and impartial ethics oversight board. Cordially, Claudia J. Glennon." Anybody else in the audience for public comment on agenda items only? Go ahead.
Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Roxanne Rambis. I'm a resident of Luzerne County. I live in Swarsville. Can you hear me? Sure. My name is Roxanne Rambis. I live in Swarsville, Pennsylvania. Is the button on? Is it too close?
whoever's on. No, because he's not on Zoom.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry about that. Controller.
Technology.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's not.
Oh, now it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Roxanne Rembus. I live at 301 Denniston Street in Swarsville, Pennsylvania. Good evening, member. Oh, is that better here? Okay. Good evening, members of County Council. Again, as we consider the appointment of Ben Herring to the Ethics Commission, I feel compelled to express my concerns based on his public conduct and ongoing legal entanglements with our county. Ben Herring is widely known in public statements, which include discriminatory remarks against the LGBTQ community, sharply conflict with the core values of respect and equality that we strive to hold here in Luzerne. His views raise serious doubts about his ability to serve on a body that demands impartiality and a commitment to ethical principles. Additionally, his current lawsuit against the county, where he seeks access to sensitive electoral process footage, introduces a potential risk to our community's privacy and the security of our electoral system. Such a conflict of interest is troubling, as it questions his ability to function neutrally on a commission that should stand as a pillar of unbiased governance. So I respectfully ask that the council consider these significant issues when making your decision about his nomination to the Ethics Commission. It is vital that we choose people who adhere to the highest standards of ethics and impartiality. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience for public comment on agenda items only? Go ahead, Mr. Walsh.
I'm here to express support for Benjamin Herring for the, I'm sorry?
Name and town.
Oh, Jamie Walsh, I'm sorry, Ross Township. I'm here to express my support for Benjamin Herring. In 2021, Ben and myself and a few other parents from around this county started the Citizens Advisory of Pennsylvania. I was the acting president until I decided to run for state representative. Someone stood up here and called it a fringe right group. That is nothing further than the truth. As far as all of these blanket statements...
Is anybody else on her?
Yep. Yeah, this is Dan Landesberg from Geis here.
Oh,
I apologize,
I'm just
Mr. Walsh.
wondering
Is
why
anybody,
we weren't let in.
members of the
Yeah,
public that
I
are on the
actually just
Zoom,
sent a
can you hear us?
message to the person who we were arranging this with at the county.
I'm guessing they
Hoping
can't
to get a
hear
response via email. But before 6 o'clock,
Yeah,
I was able to see
can the
video,
IT
not
people
hear
in the back
anything.
mute these guys?
I think they had it muted.
Thank
It
you.
might have
Sorry
been
about
still.
this.
Same, and then it kicked me off.
I'm okay.
Is
I am
it-
here
sorry,
as
Mr.
well,
Walsh.
and I have been
apologize.
shooting them questions in the Q&A.
Is there anything on the Q&A here? Can you?
Is it good?
Sorry, I don't want to.
Mute it?
Yeah, just say that they're.
Still here.
It says that the room is muted. Is this? Should we have? Is that normally like that, where it says join audio? Oh, okay.
Are they muted out there in virtual land?
Well, I think the problem is we're muted.
And they're not?
Well, they should be muted until it's public comment time, but they're. We're the ones that are muted.
I just turned it off.
Okay, yeah, that has to be up. All right, let's continue with the public comment if we can for now. Okay. Okay, got it. All right, we apologize, members of the public that are listening via Zoom. We know that there was an issue. We're going to continue with public comment now. Go ahead, Mr. Walsh.
No problem. I'm certainly not here to speak on Mr. Herring's. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just speaking to what I've witnessed, which is a diehard, steadfast guy that wants accountability in our government and wants it done ethically. As far as these blanket statements about him being anti-LGBTQ and all of this, Our organization has fought to keep. Very nice.
IT, please mute the public, please.
Our organization that we started, Citizens Advisory of Pennsylvania, has fought to keep flags flown from inside schools except for the United States flag. And if that is what they're referring to, I sorry that they're so sensitive about that. And the reason being why that's so important is because where do you draw the line? How many flags are we going to have flying inside school buildings and classrooms that some people agree with and some people don't? And so the argument was we should be flying the American flag, and that is it. So if that's where this is all coming from, I'm here to tell you that that's certainly Mr. Herring is not anti-LGBTQ. The other thing I would like to state, somebody had brought up about him suing the county. The county sued him. He requested legal information, video evidence, legal information that the county was overruled on because they denied him access to that video evidence. The county denied him. The county was overruled by the Office of Open Records in Harrisburg. The county was also overruled by our local Luzerne County Judge, Lisa Gelb. And then it was appealed to the Commonwealth Court, spending our taxpayer dollars to sue Mr. Herring so he can't see the video evidence. Mr. Herring did not sue the county. So I wanted to set the record straight on a few things that were said here. And if you want someone that's going to serve on this board with integrity, it's Benjamin Herring. So I don't know if you have anything at all from your end that I mean, you've worked a little bit with Mr. Herring. You know his character and what he stands for. And I think that that this board should definitely, or this council should definitely approve him today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Anybody else in the audience for public comment? Anybody on the Zoom? Public comment, agenda items only. I don't see any hands up. We'll give them a couple seconds just in case there's an issue before we move on.
He told me he muted everybody out there.
Okay, all right. All right, members of the public, once again, if you are on the Zoom, please, okay, we do have a hand. If you're on the Zoom, please make sure that you're muted until and unless you are called to speak.
My hands are
Yep. Okay, thank you, Mr. Herring. Go ahead. We'll have you up for public comment now. Go ahead, Mr. Herring.
Once again, if you are on the Zoom, please, if you're on the Zoom, please make sure that you're muted until and unless you.
Mr. Herring, can you hear us?
Yeah, we can't hear you guys, just so you know.
You can't hear us? All right, can you just type in the chat? Just hold on just stand by 1 second. I apologize. I'm not sure what's going on. All right, if we can't get this figured out in the next minute or two, we'll go ahead with the meeting, and and then we'll try to figure this out as we go along. But I know there's other people that need to participate via the Zoom that are on from the engineering consultants and whatnot. So
John, can you guys hear me okay now?
we can hear you, Ben. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Herring, for your public comment. I apologize for that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really had nothing to say initially, but obviously I feel compelled to, defend my character here. I don't know who these folks are who are speaking. I've never seen them before. But as a Marine Corps veteran, combat veteran, I appreciate their comments, and we do live in a country where you're allowed to speak your mind. What you're not allowed to speak, however, are untruths and lies and defamatory comments. I got involved a few years ago, and the reason I got involved locally, and if you want to call it the political scene, was because I had a child. That changed the trajectory for me. My life was no longer about, my wife. It was now about my wife and my kids. The reason that's so important to me and why ethics and integrity is part of my daily job, and that's also so important to me, is because Luzerne County has a lot of problems that need to be fixed. The typical tactics have been deployed here. National scale, they're used on a state scale, and now they're in dirty Luzerne County, unfortunately. They're in Luzerne County. I don't want to say dirty Luzerne County, but there are certain folks that are dirty in Luzerne County, as we've seen tonight. None of what was said is true. What I stand for, and I will always stand for, and I'm unapologetic about, is protecting our children. I don't believe that adults should be talking about their sexual preferences to kids at drag shows. I don't believe that boys should be told at a very young age about their sexuality and about changing to a different gender. And I've always been ironclad on that stance. I do not apologize for that stance, nor will I ever. That is not anti-LGBTQ. Let's make that clear. That is that I care about the children and I will always protect them. What adults do on their free time or adults do with their sexual preferences, I have no problem with. I have friends that are gay. I've had friends that were gay for the longest time. I served in the military. That's the most diverse community you could ever be a part of. So these accusations or these statements tonight, I'm glad people put their names to it finally, because now I know who they are instead of hiding. But they're blatantly and egregiously false. And if you want somebody that's not bought and paid for or has any kind of an agenda to look at things impartially, with impartiality, then that's who I am. But I'm not going to apologize for being who I am, and I will always be ironclad in my stance. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Herring. Is there anybody else on the Zoom for public comment on agenda items only? All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. I'll have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 voting session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. All right. Minutes are approved. Number 1, we have the motion to adopt the ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County Courts.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call. Sorry.
Who's the second?
I think Mr. Thornton was the second,
Okay.
and I think Mr. Sabatino was the first.
I got that, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yeah, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Lescavage? Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 2, motion to adopt the ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County for licensing.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Lescavage? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 3, motion to adopt the resolution approving an agreement with Delta Airport Consultants Incorporated for engineering and planning services at the Wilkes-Barre, Wyoming Valley Airport.
So move.
Second.
All right, there's a motion by Mr. Thornton, second by Ms. Stevenson. On the question, Ms. McDermott.
I've just got this packet here from Mr. Herbert. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Herbert Hall. And I was just reading through it a little bit, but I did, when I was knocking on doors, I did come across a woman who was complaining about the noise level of the aircraft. And it was something that I said she should go and speak with the board there and express that. And I don't know if Mr. Herbert has done that or not. But to me, that is a concern. And I know with Delta, maybe this is something that we can bring up with them, that they would look into it, because this is, it's not a good thing for people that are living near the airport.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. McDermott. Sir, it's not time for public comment at this time. We'll have you come up at the end of the meeting. Sorry about that.
It just seems like a valid concern that we should definitely mention to Delta. I know that they're going to be doing a lot of different things with the airport, but if it's an FAA guideline too, that definitely should be followed.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other comments? All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
I agree it's a concern we should raise, but yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 4, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing Luzerne County to enter into an agility agreement with PennDOT District 4.
Motion.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 5, resolution authorizing the use of American Rescue Plan Act funds for a Building and Grounds Department HVAC system replacement project. First, we have a motion to remove from the table.
I move that motion to remove from table.
All right, there's a second by Ms. McDermott. Does this need roll call? Right. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
It's removed from the table, unanimous.
All right, now we have the motion to adopt the resolution.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige? Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 6, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Act Plan funds awarded project for Fork Over Love Incorporated.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Krishnowski, second by Ms. McDermott.
On a question?
Go ahead.
I just want to give kudos to Fork Over Love for the work they do providing meals every day to hundreds and hundreds of people in the county that don't have the means to feed themselves. And I applaud them for bringing this modification to council's attention. It's approximately $23,000 they're diverting in their budget under the ARPA money that we gave them, $23,000, which they had allocated to pay DoorDash to deliver these meals to people out in the county. And now they feel, since COVID and all that happened years ago, that they really would rather not give this money to DoorDash, and they're going to use it for meals themselves and feeding the community, as they say in their modification. So I applaud them for coming forward and doing that. Thank you.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 7, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project for the North Branch Land Trust.
Motion.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 8, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project for the Municipal Authority of Hazle Township. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich? Yes. Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 9, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project for Back Mountain Recreation, Inc. Motion by Ms. McDermott, second by Mr. Sabatino. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence?
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 10, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project, Luzerne County District Attorney's Office.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence?
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 11, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project to the Borough of Freeland.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence?
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 12, motion to adopt the resolution approving a modification to an American Rescue Plan Act funds awarded project for Geisinger Health. Motion by Ms. McDermott, second by Mr. Sabatino. Roll call.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 13, motion to adopt the resolution approving the settlement of pending litigation in the matter of Gary Wargo versus Luzerne County.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Liscavige? No. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
With reservations, I'll vote yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
10 yes, 1 no. Passes.
Number 14, motion to adopt the resolution amending the terms of the lease for office space at 40 North Church Street, Hazleton, from the City of Hazleton.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 15, the county manager introduction of ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County to create a line item number within the Department of Veterans Affairs budget to account for the rent relating of the leasing of space in Hazleton City Hall.
I am introducing that ordinance because when the budget was created, we did not include Veterans Affairs in the group that was going to have space in Hazleton. You've just amended the lease to include them, and we need to amend the budget to reflect that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Manager Crocomo. Number 16, motion to adopt the resolution declaring a vacancy on the Luzerne County Flood Protection Authority due to the resignation of a member.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Is the second of that? I'm sorry.
I think,
Mr.
was it Mr. Haas? I think? Okay.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 17, motion to adopt the resolution declaring a vacancy on the Luzerne and Wyoming County Drug and Alcohol Executive Commission. I just want to note before we do this that it is not the same as the appointment that we're going to be making to the Alcohol Executive Commission on number 19.
Motion.
Mr. Wilovich, I think, and Mr. Thornton. Roll call.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 18, appointments to authorities for the Northeastern Pennsylvania Health and Higher Education Authority. I believe we have one term ending in 2028. Is there a motion to open nominations?
Motion open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are open.
I nominate Mr. Joseph Donahue.
Second.
All right. Any other nominations?
Motion
Sir.
to close, Mr. Chairman.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Nominations are closed. All right. We have one nomination for one appointment. We'll vote on the resolution. All right. We'll vote on the resolution for Mr. Donahue. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution appointing Mr. Donahue.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right. Bless you. Number 19, we have appointments to boards and commissions. First, we have Accountability Conduct and Ethics Commission. We have one Republican term ending in 2025.
On the
I make
question,
the motion of Mr. Ben Herring. Mr.
We have
Chairman.
to open nominations.
Motion. Move to open nominations.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Nominations are open.
Move the name Ben Herring for the appointment.
on the question on Ben Herring.
All right. Well, I'll second it so we can have a discussion.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Confirmed the suit against Luzerne County, and that suit does, in fact, present an irreconcilable conflict. And I would also note that he did not disclose this suit in his interview. And I think that's something notable that we should consider when considering this nomination.
On the question.
Go ahead, Mr. Thornton.
That raises a new question here, and this is a question for Attorney Skeen. We heard from an audience member tonight that he does not have a lawsuit against the county. Could you clarify what's going on? Because there's different reports here.
Go ahead, Attorney Skeen.
It's a,
Can you, Mike.
it was a right-to-know claim that for security reasons, the sheriff cannot give out video, or else that'll disclose where we have cameras set up. So we then took an appeal, and our understanding was that the Office of Open Records had not had all of the information, and then the court took an adverse action, and we appealed to the appellate court.
Is there a status on that, I guess, right now? I
We're,
don't know if that-
we're in appellate court waiting.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
So is it ongoing right now?
It's ongoing right
Yes,
now.
it's-
Okay.
It's
Thank-
ongoing,
thank
and
you.
the fact that he did not disclose it
Is
is an issue.
Attorney Skeen, is this inherently a conflict for him serving on this board? I know I've asked this question to you privately. I just want to, if we can sort of get an answer publicly.
I mean, an argument could be made that it would be.
Okay. Okay. Any other?
On the question, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Mr. Haas.
To, again, counter what Attorney Skeen's saying, an argument can be made conversely as well. So again, this is all just opinion out there. Mr. Herring is a credible citizen. We all got a lot of copied emails from the same source, from a very liberal group. Clearly, there are other things at play here. And I feel personally, I feel very unfortunate for Mr. Herring that he has to be maligned like that, because I was a recipient of such nonsense as well in the last. Shame on that group, and shame on people copying things to tear people down who just want to serve. Mr. Herring, I proudly support you. Colleagues do the same.
All right. Any other comments? Is there a motion to close nominations? Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Nominations are closed. All right, we have one nomination for the one position. We'll have a vote on the resolution. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Haas. I'll second it. Oh, second by Mr. Liscavige. Have him second it, not me. All right. Roll call.
Ms. Krishnowski? No. Mr. Liscavige? Ms. McDermott?
Originally was going to vote no because of the litigation. I understand it can be taken both ways. I will vote yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
No.
Ms. Smith?
No.
Ms. Stevenson? No. Mr. Thornton?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of unresolved issues here and opinions back and forth. I, for one, I don't disparage anybody's character, especially Mr. Herring. And I certainly don't accept as gospel, by any stretch of imagination, those emails I received last night, we all received, flooded our inbox with the same email from the same group in the county. And I'd be saying this same thing if it was a Republican group flooding our inbox with the exact same email, with the same verbiage, same exact language. And people, it's some robotic program they use, and it's frustrating. And I don't accept those emails as truthful. And just because someone changes their name as though they wrote it and they sent it to us, I don't agree with that. And I would hope Republicans would heed that warning also and not do the same thing in the future. As most people know, I've never been on Facebook, and I probably never will be. Never been on any of those Twitter, X, social sites. And so I don't know what's true or not true when they write those things that he allegedly said on Facebook. So I don't necessarily accept that. And I do give credence to the public comment tonight that we heard tonight, especially Mr. Walsh, who knows Mr. Herring well. I don't know Mr. Herring well. I hardly know him at all. So based on the alleged litigation or not litigation, I was originally going to vote no, but I'm voting yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Simply on the questions of the litigation issue, I'm voting no.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
6 yes, 5 no. It passes.
All right. Number 19B, Arts Advisory Board, one term ending 12/31/2027.
Motion to open.
Motion. Is there a second? All right. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Nominations are open. Brian Gill. Is there a second? All right.
Wait.
Oh,
you
I
need a
apologize.
second? Who was the second on that?
Oh,
What-
hold on a second. Is there a second on Mr. Gill? All right. Second by Ms. McDermott. Any other nominations? Go ahead. Okay. Second for Carl Frankel.
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are closed. All right, we have two nominations for one position. We'll do roll call, and you'll pick your individual candidate, please.
Mr. Liscavige.
The names are Carl Frankel or Brian Gill. Okay.
Ms. McDermott. Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Dr. Frankel.
Ms. Smith.
Dr. Frankel.
Ms. Stevenson. Mr. Thornton.
Dr. Frankel.
Mr. Wilovich.
Dr. Frankel.
Mr. Haas.
Mr. Gill.
Ms. Krishnowski. Mr. Lombardo.
Dr. Frankel.
Mr. Frankel. Dr. Frankel has 7. Mr. Gill has 4.
All right, we'll have the resolution for Dr. Frankel. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution appointing Dr. Frankel to the position.
Second that.
All right, motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott. Yes. Mr. Perry. Yes. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Liscavige. Yes. Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, we have Luzerne and Wyoming County Area Agency on Aging Advisory Board, one term ending 12/31/2026.
Motion to open.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, nominations are open.
Nominate Mr. Donald Warren. Second.
Motion is,
Motion to close.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, nominations are closed. We have one for one. We'll do the resolution.
I make a motion that we nominate Mr. Donald Warren to the Luzerne-Wyoming County's Area Agency on Aging Advisory Board.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Mr. Perry. Yes. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Liscavige. Yes. Ms. McDermott. Yes. Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, next up we have Luzerne and Wyoming County Drug and Alcohol Executive Commission for one medical/healthcare professional term ending 12/31/2026.
Before we open nominations, may I,
Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
on this executive commission, Kristen Coffey is labeled as a student, and this is important because the opening is for a medical or healthcare professional.
Mhm.
She's labeled as a student, however, reading her application, assistant counseling, Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and she's currently a master's student. So yes, she is a student, but she has been at the Clearbrook Treatment Center. She seems to have worked in the medical field, so I believe that she would be eligible.
All right, Ms. Lawrence, go ahead.
Before I put the eligibility list together, I do contact the agencies that have the eligibility requirements. They did receive her application, and that's what they felt she was eligible for, based on what she.
Thanks for that
what was in there.
clarification.
And
Okay,
they also
that's-
received the other one as well. They
Okay.
received all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, then they would, then they tell me what opening that they are eligible for.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Nominations are open, correct?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to open nominations?
Motion to
I
open.
apologize. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are open.
I nominate Mr. Raymond Bernardi.
All right, motion and a second.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman?
No.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
I
I retract my motion, sorry.
I'm nominating Christian Coffey.
Uh,
Why? Not at all?
She's
Can't even qualify
she's
for a
listed as a
vote?
student, so we can't appoint her to a position that's not allocated for a student.
The position that we just declared vacant is a student position, so next meeting we
Yeah.
can appoint to the student.
So we can appoint her. We can appoint her, theoretically at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Apologies for that. All right.
I restore my original motion, Mr. Chair, to close the nomination.
close.
And thanks, Ms. Lawrence, for being diligent. Really appreciate it. That's a lot of work. To follow
Agreed.
through on that. It's a lot of work. Thank
All
you.
right. There's a motion.
I second the motion to close.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are closed. All right, we have 1 for 1. We'll have the resolution on Mr. Raymond Bernardi for the medical health care professional. Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Yes.
Mr. Sabatino? Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Yes. Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich? Yes. Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 20, motion to adopt the resolution appointing a citizen member to the Commission on Opioid Misuse and Addiction Abatement.
Motion to open nominations.
All right, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are open.
I'd like to move Attorney Sheila Seidman for the position, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion and a second for Attorney Sheila Seidman. There's a nomination for Ms. Butera. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second for Ms. Butera. Okay. Any other nominations? Motion to close. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are closed. All right, we have 1 open position and we have 2 people nominated. We'll go around the room and state your preference, please.
Ms. Butera.
Ms. Stevenson?
Proudly, Miss Butera.
Mr. Thornton?
Mrs. Butera.
Mr. Wilovich?
Ms. Butera.
Mr. Haas?
Attorney Seidman.
Ms. Krishnowski? Mr. Liscavige? Ms. McDermott? Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Butera.
Mr. Lombardo?
Ms. Butera.
We have 9 for Mr. Butera and 2 for Ms. Saban. It's Mr. Butera.
Miss
Or Ms.
Butera.
Butera, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, number 21, we have the announcement.
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
can I say one thing?
I apologize. We have to do the resolution.
Oh, go ahead.
And then we'll let you have a comment. Okay. We have a motion for the resolution.
Motion to pass the resolution appointing Ms. Mary Butera on the opioid commission.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich? Yes. Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. All right. Number 21, we just have the announcement regarding the government study
Mr.
commission.
Chair.
Oh, I apologize, Mr. Perry.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to say a few words as a member of the ABC committee. I had the pleasure to interview the 5 members, the 5 applicants for the opioid, along with everybody else. But I just want to say that they were so good and so superb and so caring that it was very difficult to pick just one. I mean, you had to be there to hear them, and their trials and their tribulations, and how they continue to go through everything and recovered and come back and help people. I mean, it was probably, I've been on the ABCs for 6 years, probably the best group that I've ever interviewed. I mean, they were outstanding. And I mean, you could have picked just about anyone, and I think they would do a good job. But very, very impressive, very impressive.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Thornton?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to add, just dovetail off that, Mr. Perry, well said. And it's one of those interview sessions we held here where very powerful interviews from all 5 people. So I want to announce out loud, I applaud Attorney Sedman, Mr. Oberto, Ms. Kashuba, and Ms. Vavada. Very great interviews. You're passionate people about what you think and what you believe. And I would hope you consider in the future either serving or applying again for this commission or another commission in the county, maybe drug and alcohol or another one. But I thank you all for applying and interviewing that night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to reiterate, it was truly a tough decision for us. There were many great candidates, and we really appreciate your interest and certainly hope that you'll participate in the meetings as the public is allowed to. So please keep that in mind. Okay. All right, now we'll move on to 21. Okay, sorry, I was pulling up the list of the winners for the Government Study Commission. I didn't want to forget anybody. We just wanted to announce the Government Study Commission will be meeting soon. They're still in the process of setting up their meeting date. All those meetings will obviously be open to the public, and we just wanted to quickly announce the members who are going to be on it. It is Cindy Malcolm Emis, Vito Malacari, Mark Schaefer, Stephen J. Urban, Ted Ritzik, Tim McGinley, and Matt Mitchell. And they will be, like I said, having their they will start having meetings very shortly. They'll need to be sworn in, and then they'll organize themselves. And then there will actually be several things that this council will have to do in order to make sure that they can operate. So just keep that in mind in the coming weeks.
I think I could too, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead,
That
Mr. House.
it's not an opportunity to take advantage of our clerk to council. We got to make sure that they're well within their parameters of the ask.
Absolutely.
Okay, because Sharon's busy enough. I just want to make sure that's
Yes, I
that's
think
well
that
known.
they will be, they'll be able to utilize her for the first meeting, and then hopefully they'll have something figured out that they'll be able to do a lot of their own legwork. Once that happens, they have to do a little bit of research on what the previous Government Study Commission did and things like that. So,
very good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. If there's nothing further, we'll now have public comment. Go ahead, Mr. Griffith.
On non-agenda items, is this working, or is it is working, right? Away. Go away.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you. Could you start over?
Could you speak up,
well,
please?
How the tables have turned.
I think this is an IT issue, but I think that was on purpose too, by the way. Is this on? Just remember to make sure our microphones are on for obviously the listening public who has to hear. They can't hear. That's what's most important. That's why they're there. We can hear, but they cannot. So please try to remember to do that. Especially those, when Brian speaks, he doesn't even need a microphone. We can hear him very well. But there are some people who speak very quietly, so we need to speak loudly. I am thankful for the 6 people who had the intestinal fortitude to vote for Mr. Herring. He's a good man. I've seen him many times work in the community, as well as other things on the commission. He'll be an asset to the commission. I find it troubling that the lawsuit that is filed against Mr. Herring, he's a defendant. Everybody needs to pay attention. He is a defendant. He did not file a lawsuit. If you look at the caption on the prothonotary page, he is being sued by the county. There's a difference. So are we going to set the precedent that any time this county sues somebody, they can't serve on a commission? That's a dangerous, slippery slope we stand on, folks. He is being sued by this county. He's not the party. So he didn't bring a lawsuit to the county. The county brought it against him. That's a big distinction. So please keep that in mind when we make decisions about people that can sit on the boards and authorities. To Mr. Skeen's point, is it a conflict? If he's a defendant, I don't see why it would be a conflict.
It's a. All right. Thank you, Mr. Griffith. All right. Mr. Hall, if you want to come up and speak now, I apologize that we had to kind of go back and forth with you a little bit, but that's okay. Nope, that's okay. We understand. Go ahead.
To address some issues, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. My name is Herbert Hall. I'm a resident of Wyoming Borough, and I'm here to address some issues that I think are important, at least should be important to everyone. And actually, I'm here to address the sort of the forgotten element in this whole thing, and that's we the people. When I say forgotten element, I see articles relating to the improvements to the Wyoming Valley Airport. And even prior articles, plus these articles, never make reference to the citizen, the average Joe like me. They're never included. But, I mean, nobody is ashamed to come to us for a vote. Nobody is ashamed to raise our taxes. But yet this allocation that's going to go forward, who is going to secure our safety and our welfare? And that's what I'm here for. Now, this is kind of like a two-part thing. I have prepared these handouts for you. I don't expect you to look at them here. This is too laborious to do this right here. So I've asked that they be passed out. If you could kindly look at those at your leisure, it would be appreciated. So what I'll do is I'll try to paint a word picture for you of what we see, what we experience in our backyards and in the skies above and in the air around us. Let me start out with the 44th end of that airport. Okay, that's about a 30-acre area down there. And it's the 44th athletic fields. Now, there's kids that play in those athletic fields. And there's other people besides kids. The last time I was there, I counted 22 soccer nets. And there's incidents that area down there has a little history of its own. Back in 1990, 2 pilots took off from that airport at that southern end. They were in the same plane. Unfortunately, they lost power in that plane, and they came crashing down into the soccer field. More specifically, they came crashing down into the soccer net. They were both killed. Just recently, in 2019, I believe, another pilot had an unfortunate happening with his plane, couldn't get his landing gear down. He landed in the field. There's pictures of that in this thing here. When you go through that, you will see those kinds of things. And that field, by the way, sits adjacent to that 44th airport. It's like Siamese twins. Here's the airport, here's the soccer field. So coming up this way meaning toward Wyoming, you will see the Midway Shopping Center. The first thing you see in that Midway Shopping Center is the New Story School. That is a school for autistic and emotionally disadvantaged children. Well, I shouldn't say children, but it's people from 5 through perhaps 21. And these kids, a lot of them are kids.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Your 3 minutes is up.
Oh.
I apologize. We'll look through the information that you gave us.
Okay.
But thank you. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else in the audience for public comment? Go ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening. Is on?
Yeah.
On. All right. I'm Sean Stanford. I'm a resident of West Pittston. I'm also on the advisory board for the airport. And I just want to respond to the previous comments. The majority of the allocation is going towards safety improvements that will make it less likely that mishaps will happen at the airport. And that includes improvements to the runways, improvements to the taxiways, and improvements to the weather. It's an automatic weather advisory system. So the goal here is short term with the money that's already allocated or will be allocated is to make the airport better and safer rather than anything else at this point. So that's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody else for public comment? Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. Hall.
Can you go to the microphone? Can you state your name and your municipality?
My name is Madeline Hall, and it sounds very good what this gentleman just said, but it's not going to work. The pilots do not obey the rules. I don't care how many people, what you buy, or whatever you do. If you don't have someone to patrol and tell these pilots they cannot fly over our homes. We've had people working on our homes on a scaffold, on this, putting siding on. The planes come so close. They came between our two houses, and these two men that were working on the scaffold, they said, "Oh, Jim, hurry up and let's get out of here because this is not right." And that's just a very small. And since we've been talking about having someone just tell the pilots, just fly over the river. They're not supposed to fly over schools, the churches, over homes. We've had pilots just come over our house just to show us that they can do it, and they've been doing it. And I think it's just a matter of time that something terrible is going to happen, and I'm afraid that it'll be too late. That's when everyone will be coming and knocking on Mr. and Mrs. Hall's door for the information that's in that packet. So I certainly hope that you have a very big insurance policy, because nowadays everybody sues for nothing. And when a terrible accident happens, it's the children, especially children with autism. They need help. And if the teachers, the pilots cannot keep them safe, no one's going to keep them safe. I'm sorry. I'm not a speaker, but I just had to tell you how I feel. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hall. Anybody else in the audience for public comment? Mr. Walsh?
Jamie Walsh from Ross Township. I want to thank the council for approving Benjamin Herring. I want to let you know what kind of man you're getting to serve. Ben was a corporal in the Marines and received a heroic achievement while serving as radio officer. Combined Anti-Armored Team 2, 1st Battalion, 3D Marines, Task Force Spartan, Combined Joint Task Force 76 in support of Operation Enduring Freedom 6 on January 25th, 2006. On January 25th, Corporal Herring's convoy was traveling on the Peck River Road in Kunar province of Afghanistan when a third vehicle in the convoy was struck by an improvised explosive device, followed by small arms and rocket fire. Corporal Herring braved intense enemy fire and found the device that was impeding communications. Despite being knocked to the ground due to the enemy, Corporal Herring's courage, proficiency, and dedication reflected great credit upon himself and were in keeping with the highest tradition of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. And that was an award that Mr. Herring got. If there is anybody qualified to serve, it is a distinguished Marine Corps veteran for this county, and I think everybody in this room should be proud of that. Ben is a friend of mine. I will not let people defame him in public, and I think it's shameful, especially Mr. Wilovich, who was here the night that I said that I questioned our county manager about suing Mr. Herring. You were here to witness that, Wilovich. You were here.
Mr. Walsh, please direct your comments through the chair of council.
And he knew that Benjamin Herring did not have a lawsuit against the county, and it was the other way around. How much time do I have? I have one more.
Like 20 seconds.
That's fine. I attended the election board meetings over the last 3 weeks, and we have a deficiency. We have a member who's donated their time, but it doesn't seem that he has the time to put into it. Mr. Morelli, I know you've gotten some, I know several of the board members have gotten some complaints about it, but we have a big election coming up in November, and we need somebody. I appreciate Mr. Morelli stepping up to serve the community, but in November it's going to be a lot more hectic, and we need someone there that can do it full time. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Anybody else in the audience for public comment? Anybody on the Zoom? Mr. Herring?
Yeah, just checking to make sure you guys can hear me okay.
We can hear you, Mr. Herring. Go ahead.
All right, so I just want to set the record straight. Attorney Skeen, I thought did a subpar job of actually explaining to you guys what happened. So just for clarity, right? Any citizen in the county has the ability to submit a right to know request. Those are public documents. The RTK law was established after Watergate, so citizens weren't kept in the dark when the government was making decisions. I think transparency should be of the utmost importance for everybody in the county. So when I submitted that right to know request, it was denied by Luzerne County. I submitted an appeal to the Office of Open Records, which is considered a quasi-judicial, entity. So they are not able to order anybody to do something. They are basically like an arbiter that looks at it and gives a decision. There are attorneys that are down at the OOR. The OOR ruled in my favor, saying Luzerne County had to provide the production of records that I requested. What happened after that is what's been kind of confusing tonight for some folks, and I really wish Mr. Wilovich would have done his homework on this. Once I won on appeal at the Office of Open Records, Luzerne County took the action within a 30-day time period to petition the Court of Common Pleas to prevent me from seeing that production of records. I, defended myself in court. I haven't spent not one penny on a lawyer, nor will I, because I feel this is a citizen's right. We went in front of Luzerne County Court of Common Pleas. We got a decision issued there for us, and then Luzerne County took that a step further and appealed to the Commonwealth Court. This is not trivial information. This is known. You can go find public records on this. So I thought it was despicable that it was even discussed tonight that I was part of some kind of lawsuit. The county is a government entity. They use taxpayer funds. And if they're doing so to prevent the public from seeing something that has already been ruled upon as being public information, that's a county issue. That's not a Ben Herring issue. And again, I thought it was shameful that was brought up, and it was kind of painted the picture. And Attorney Skeen had a perfect opportunity to explain that to you guys, and he did not do that. But that's what happened. You could find that anywhere. Secondly, and I'll try and be quick, civil discourse is something that is a hallmark of America. It's something that I went over and fought for. You should not, because you sign up to do something in a public forum, be smeared and have your name dragged through the mud simply because you're trying to serve on a board, serve in a elected capacity, whatever have you. I think it's despicable, deplorable, abhorrent what happened tonight and the emails that you guys supposedly received, which I can only imagine what they said. There's a Democrat citizen that got appointed to this board. I'm sure it was an 11-0 vote. Mine had to be contentious. That has to stop.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Herring.
Thank you.
All right. We have another person for public comment on the Zoom. It's Amy's iPhone. Can you please state your full name and your municipality, please?
Yes, it's Amy Carosa from 40 Fort. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Carosa.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you to the 6 board members for your vote to accept Ben Herring to the Accountability, Conduct, and Ethics Committee. Ben Herring, as he already stated, and others as well, is a Marine. A Marine exemplifies the ultimate in ethical and moral behavior. He's a man, I know him personally, of utmost integrity and an example, personally, I wish more men would follow. I'm really disheartened and shocked that there were 5 that actually voted against him. If a Marine doesn't meet your standards to sit on an ethics committee, who does? I want to thank Mr. Herring for his service to our country, his bravery, his sacrifice, and his continued willingness to serve others, especially now in this capacity. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Anybody else on the Zoom? Motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Sit. All in favor? Opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned. We'll restart at 7:12. We'll restart at 7:20. All right, council, it's 7:22. We're going to get started here in a minute. Everybody, please take your seats. All right, council, let's take our seats and get the meeting started, please. All right. Okay, it's 7:24. I'd like to call this work session to order. We already had the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas?
Yes. Here.
Uh,
Yes, I'm here.
He votes yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Liscavige?
oh, he's
Yeah,
not going
Ms. McDermott? Here. Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
Have 9 of 11 present.
All right, thank you. Before we get started with the agenda, I just want to remind the members of the public that are on the Zoom call, please do not unmute yourself until you are asked to do so, or until you are called to speak. Thank you very much. All right, we'll have, are there any additions or deletions from the work session agenda? I'd like to entertain a motion to change number 8 to number 1, if that's okay, the LCTA match discussion. Would that be okay? Okay. Okay, is there a motion to accept the agenda with that change?
Second.
Okay.
Councilman
Yes,
White made a
first
All
and
motion.
right,
second.
motion and a second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's adopted with the change. Okay. We'll go ahead with number 1. Go ahead, Mr. Fumey. I don't think it is. We'll get you to.
That's got to be the most difficult microphone ever.
Okay, I think it's on now.
Poor Jen.
Good evening, council members. I'm Bob Fume. I'm the Executive Director of Luzerne County Transportation Authority. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for your continued support of public transit in Luzerne County. I'm here tonight and here every year at this time because it's time for us to, and all other transit agencies throughout the state, to make application to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for our operating money. So this year we're going to receive approximately $8,139,181 in operating money from Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. And according to Act 89, Section 1513, we are required to match that money in order to get it. So our local match, which has been provided by the county, is $830,104. So I am here today to request that match once again this year. We have it broken down into 2 payments, one in November and one next May. So I respectfully here asking for that, your support for that local match so we can continue to run our transit agency. If you don't mind, just really quickly, just a couple of highlights of what we're doing now. We're engaged in what's called the Transportation Development Plan, and what that is we're redoing, our routes have not really had major changes in a long time. We are doing that, and that'll be done in, we'll release the new routes in October. It's with some microtransit in there. It's going to be a better system to serve the people of Luzerne County. And obviously, you know of our building. That's going to be, we're hoping for sometime in July a grand opening, but we'll make you aware of when that is. Any questions regarding the request or anything?
Any questions? Mr. Haas?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chair, but I just have a comment. Mr. Freeman, welcome to the position. I wasn't here when you were appointed, I don't think, so welcome.
Thank you.
And I know in 2021, this council used to offset our match, and it was passed for fiscal year 2022. The council majority supported that. I'd like to bring that to the table because we can use that in lieu of a tax increase and other taxes. That was a very appropriate use. And I don't know, again, it's a comment more of a question because the council did it. So I'll put that together, Mr. Chair, just for council's purview.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Haas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Council? All right. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, go ahead. I apologize.
I do
Manager
have
Kokomo.
a comment. Bob is an asset to Luzerne County, and he is recognized across the state regularly, and we're very lucky to have him back here in Luzerne County, and I just want to thank you for all that you do and all the efforts that you're doing to try to accommodate our residents.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Next up, we have receive and discuss first quarter financial report. Ms. Roselle?
Prior to Mary reviewing the presentation, I want to tell you she and her staff put a lot of time into this, and what I'd like to think is Mary's reports on a monthly basis really are keeping council up to date about the health, the fiscal health of the county. So I want to thank Mary and her staff for all the work that they do.
Thank you. Manny, next slide. Next slide. Thanks. Okay. In accordance with Section 8.04 of the Luzerne County Code, I'm presenting the 2024 Luzerne County First Quarter Budget and Finance Report. Next slide. Okay. As of March 31st, we are in a good position fiscally. General fund revenues and expenses are both sitting at 17%. This slide shows the major revenue components as well as the major expenditures. The revenue is $28,211,803, and the total expenditures are $24,425,867. Next slide. This slide compares revenue totals from 2023 and 2024. At this point last year, revenue was $31,346,168. 2024 revenue to date is approximately $3 million below last year, but it's just due to the timing of some collections. Next slide. Real estate tax revenue is by far our largest revenue component. This slide shows some of our other revenue items, including interest, and you can see that there's a significant increase compared to 2022 as well as 2023. This is due to the interest we're earning on ARPA funds, as well as the fact that we are now managing the money in all of our accounts to ensure that we're maximizing our interest income every month. Grants are also higher. We're going after more grants and being successful at receiving them. Rent revenue is higher, and that's due to the Hazleton Exchange Building. You know, those of you, we've taken that over now, so we're collecting all of the rent as well as, of course, paying the expenditures also. And then we have fines and fees, which are driven by our Judicial Services Division. Next slide. Okay. So to highlight a few points regarding our revenue, in 2024, the tax bills were mailed out on February 16th. The discount period ended on 4/15, so we have 2 months of revenue that that are being shown in the slide. Well, 1 month of revenue in the slides that I'm actually showing you. You'll see another increase when we report on our April and May, of course, payments. Online payments were $1,238,495. So more people are taking advantage of the online option. Last year we had $1,081,900. We also now have offices in Hazleton. So one of those offices that we have in the Hazleton area is our treasurer's office. They go there twice a week. So for the first quarter, there were 345 tax bills that were paid at that location, totaling $410,097. In addition to those revenue items, I also want to mention the TRAN, the tax revenue anticipation note, which was paid off in 3 months versus 6, saving the county approximately $150,000 in interest. Next slide. Comparing expense totals from 23 to 24, you can see at this point last year expenses totaled $25,994,142, slightly higher than last year, again mostly due to timing and some ARPA payouts that we're doing. Next slide. Okay. The ARPA, or American Rescue Plan funds, I also want to highlight a couple things there. The county, as many of you know, received $112,890,152 in ARPA funds. We work diligently every day to make sure we're managing that with Booth. During the first quarter of this year, $279,830 was spent in comparison to only $5,456 that was spent last year. So as we move through the year, we'll see more and more payments going out for the ARPA projects. Through March 31st, we've earned $5.3 million in ARPA interest, $5,385,923 to be exact, and of that, $908,381 was earned so far in 2024. Next slide. Does anyone have any questions for me on the first quarter report?
One comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Thornton.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Rozell. I want to applaud you. I love seeing that. Saving $150,000 in interest on the TRAN. That was great that we were able to pay that off early versus traditionally 6 months in. So that's a big savings, and it helps us guys and girls come budget season when we're looking to find $150,000, and that could be the difference. So thank you for that. And just real quick question, revenue totals by the year. The revenue so far this year is down about about 10% from last year. At this point in time, I just wondering, is there a specific reason, or is it just timing?
It's really just the timing of the tax revenues that are coming in. We budgeted more in revenue for this year, and I think when you see the numbers for the next 2 months, you'll see that revenue has increased.
Also, shame on me. I didn't know we could pay our county real estate taxes online.
You can.
I'm always the last to learn these things, but I don't think it's well publicized at the public. So I'm saying it out loud now, and maybe the media could pick up on that. That they could go right on our homepage, and go where on the homepage.
I believe we have to go to the department, to the treasurer's department, and there should be a link there. But what we can do to publicize it more is that we can put it on our website too. We're in the process of revamping a lot of things on the website. So we'll do that as part of the revamping.
Great. And I think my county tax is always combined with my local town tax. So how will that mess things up? Or
No.
I won't have to pay the tax twice
You
to
will
my
not.
local guy.
No.
And then,
You're good.
okay. All right,
One
thank-
tax bill, one payment.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Anybody else?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rozelle.
I also want to say that we received a compliment from one of the departments noting that our budget and finance department has never been so responsive to queries and information, and that's because of the leadership of Mary Rozelle.
Thank you for all your hard work. Next, we have receive and discuss division reports for April 2024.
So, as usual, if there are any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, phone, text, email. Mary kind of announced some of what I do want to highlight for today, and that's our website. We are going to upgrade our website. Jim Rose and I met with the head of IT and Jen Thomas. We formed a very small committee, and we are going to upgrade not only the public face of the website, because it is really sometimes the first introduction of Luzerne County to the public. I want to make it more energetic, more vibrant, to actually represent what Luzerne County is. Hopefully, we might be able to have a QR code where we can do virtual tours of the courthouse. And more importantly, we're going to really make our intranet more robust, having, for example, HR forms all online, available for our staff to use. So we had our first meeting. I think our second meeting is scheduled. And I want to thank Jim for his taking the lead in that. So what will happen is we'll be reaching out to the divisions and departments and council, because you have a page as well, and we'll get your input, and we'll really make the website an inviting place for people to find information.
All right. Thank you, Manager Crocomo. Next up, we have discussion regarding the ordinance amending the 2024 fiscal year budget for Luzerne County for MHDS.
Hi, good evening. I'm Tara Fox from Mental Health and Developmental Services. We have a very good request. We are requesting to amend our budget to allow for a grant that we received this year through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. The grant is for a total of $107,580. We plan to expend, it's a 2-year grant, so that money will be over the course of 2 years. As far as 2024, we plan to expend approximately $40,435. The purpose of this grant is to expand and enhance our current crisis intervention team training and initiatives. CIT is the acronym for that, and it's an international program. Locally, for us, it is a community partnership with law enforcement, mental health and addiction professionals, individuals who live with mental illness and or addiction. And the idea is to improve community responses, police response to people with mental health, and not just police, but first responders, all. While CIT programs are known to train officers, successful programs also focus on improving the crisis response system. So we're actually going to use this to improve our crisis response as well. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I have a
Go
question,
ahead,
Ms.
Mr.
Fox.
Haas.
Good. Hi, Ms. Fox. Harry Haas. I've been having some concerns from community members. It's not related to that specific section, but mental health, MHDS. Are there cuts coming from the state on any of these line items? Because I've got the scuttlebutt that some services are being cut or being looked at for being cut. I don't know if you could speak to that.
Not on the county level, no.
Okay, so it's coming from the state. Is something driving that from Harrisburg?
I can't speak unless I know exactly what cuts we're discussing.
Yeah.
I can't speak to it, but I know from us, there's not services that we're cutting at the county at this time. We're actually expanding services everywhere we can.
Okay.
I know that there are some changes to some programming through managed care, through medical assistance, managed care.
Through managed care.
So I don't want to assume that's what you're,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If it's specific to school-based behavioral health, then yes, there are changes coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but that's not that. It's not
Yeah.
county contracts.
Is it programming changes or is it cut changes? Can you
It's
be more
both.
specific? It's
Both funding and
Okay.
and changes and enhancements to the program to make the outcomes more impressive and more efficient.
Okay. While spending less money.
Yes.
Basically, so
Yes.
looking at efficient. Okay.
And that comes down to, if I can, that comes down
Yeah.
to every year the state budgets money for mental health and all services.
Yeah.
But they have not changed the rates in over 20 years. So although they have required that those providing the service have maybe a master's level or better licensing, however, they're not matching that rate to compensate for someone who goes through that education. So I can tell you, I say this often, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but 20-some years ago, I used to be a crisis worker. The rate for a crisis worker is the same today as it was when I did it. So people aren't, like, so we can't afford to do it. And for us, like, it's difficult. So if the state were to increase the rate for services, we would not be reducing. Or I should say managed care would not be reducing.
That's what I thought, and obviously I'm not management, so I know we're a pass-through for most of these programs. It's an 80-20 match.
Right.
And behavioral health, what match is that? Is that an 80-20?
For us at the county level,
behavioral health? Yeah.
the match is 5.79%.
Okay, so it's a 96.
Yeah. Yeah, and the services that you were, I believe, referring to,
Yeah.
we don't contract at all for those services. That's strictly managed care pays for those services.
Okay.
And that's why it comes down to the medical assistance reimbursement rate. Where
So-
we as a county could, like, we'll use some of our funds to pay above that rate to compensate and get good services. Managed care can't do that.
You've taught me a lot. That's okay. No,
right.
that's very helpful.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, thank
Happy
you.
to help.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Anybody else?
Just on that note, I'm
go-
sorry.
go. I was
Just
just
on
gonna
that
say-
note,
yeah, go ahead.
I was
No.
at a NBHCC meeting last week. I think Tara is the board president of the
Chair,
board.
yeah.
I want to tell you what she exhibited today. She exhibited at that board meeting, and there were representatives from Lackawanna, Wyoming, and Susquehanna County. The professionalism and the knowledge that Tara has on mental health and developmental services is extraordinary, and she represents the county at the highest level, and we should thank her for everything that she does.
We're lucky to have you, Terry. Yeah,
Well,
and
thank
don't
you.
misconstrue what I'm saying, because it's just hard, Ramila, too. I'm trying to find out where this emanates from, because I said it's not saving the county a lot of money. It's probably coming from the state, and I was trying to figure that out. So
Yeah, it's no county dollars as far as like our allocation go towards school-based behavioral health.
yeah. So then the question is, what can we do to help maintain these services? I know you got a really tough job.
Yeah, advocate with our legislature. And a wise person once said that people invest their money in things that they agree with and support.
Yeah.
So we need our consumers and our advocates to speak up for us and, put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, the calls I've got are they're dealing with our most vulnerable citizens,
Correct.
and that's
Yeah, and the
that's very
cost of
unfortunate.
services are increasing
Yeah.
so much, but yet the reimbursement isn't.
But
So
we see this with the courts and other
Yeah.
realms of government too,
Yeah,
and all
you
our
get what you pay
reimbursements are
for.
short.
Yeah,
All right.
it's very sad.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fox. We appreciate the work that you do in MHDS. We know it's not an easy job, so thank you. All right, next up we have discussion regarding the resolution authorizing the agency name change from Luzerne County Children and Youth Services to Luzerne County Children, Youth, and Families.
Good evening. I'm Jillian Thomas, one of the deputy directors for Luzerne County Children and Youth, representing the agency today. We are looking to change our name from Luzerne County Children and Youth Services to Luzerne County Children, Youth, and Families to go in flow with our family engagement initiative to include the family. We've recently updated our mission and vision because previously it was not in there. We would be one of only 9 other counties in the state that have families in their name.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I read in the resolution before us tonight for next meeting. So the past name was Luzerne County Children and Youth Services, and now it's going to be Luzerne County Children, Youth, and Families. We won't have the word services at the end of it?
Correct.
Just ends with families? Okay. All right.
CYF.
Okay. Thank you.
And I also want to note all the work that Jillian does. Just extraordinary, the energy in what she puts in. I know we have the trunk and treat, and we have the food bank now, and why don't you tell them some other things that the center is doing that you're involved in?
So we did
specifically?
start a food bank through CEO, which is available to any member of the community. They don't need to be involved with our agency. They don't need to have referrals or cases. We've been growing that. We now have frozen food that's available. Our freezer just went, so we have an agency that is looking to donate a new deep freezer for us to keep that going. We have donation rooms everywhere, so cleaning supplies, clothes, baby items. An agency donated tons of tampons and pads to our teenage girls. It's been really great, so we're just trying to change our image in the community to show that we're able to help and assist and not just be involved when there's abuse and neglect.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
I just want to say that these individuals, they provide services to those people in the county who are often overlooked and overseen and the most vulnerable. And we do it so well. And it's because of people like Jillian and Tara. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again. All right, next up we have discussion regarding resolution authorizing the submission of a strategic management planning program application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development.
Jim Rose will present and explain that.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Rose, whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Okay, it's working this time. The program that we're discussing is a program that's administered and provided by the Governor's Center for Local Government Services, which is a part of the Department of Community and Economic Development for the state. It's called the Strategic Management Planning Program, or STAMP for short. And it's a matching grant program that permits counties and municipal governments to hire a consultant to come in and take a good, thorough review of the operations of the government and also the finances of the government, with an eye towards making recommendations of things that will help the government to work more efficiently, and a way to perhaps, and I've never seen it fail to do this, to save money as well. So it's a program that we will provide 50% and the state will provide the other 50%. We are at the point where we weren't sure how much this was going to cost, so we did an RFP, and we got 5 proposals back. 2 of them were in the stratosphere. I never saw, and this is a program I used to administer for the state. I never saw high proposals like this, and they weren't any different than any of the other proposals. But fortunately, we did get 3 very good proposals, one of which was very financially, it was really good. It was not horribly expensive, and it was really good. So we think that we have determined who we would like to have do this program, but we can't name that yet until we're actually awarded the grant. So now that we know how much this is going to cost, we will have to do 2 things. One, we will have a boilerplate agreement that you folks will say that you want us to apply for this program, for this grant, and that you will pay your part of the grant, which is 50%. And then the second part is that we will go ahead and apply for the grant. The grant is, it's all but assured that we will be awarded the grant. And the grant is really good in that it also, anything that's identified as something that we should change in our form of government, and these they're usually little things, but anything that we would be recommended to change, and I'll just pull this out of thin air. What if we were looking at some kind of upgrades to our IT hardware? Well, 50% of that could then be matched in another grant. So the things that are recommended in this grant, if they have a cost to them, we will be eligible then to continue on. I know of one relatively local county that had 8 such grants, and they did all sorts of things. They did policies and procedures, they did computer hardware and software, they did all sorts of various changes to just even the way their buildings were set up and the way the workspaces were set up. So this is a grant that I think can really help us, and we're moving forward with doing what we need to do to make it a reality. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Rose? Go ahead, Mr. Thornton.
I have one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed in the narrative, we're looking for a 5-year financial plan. The county's last 5-year plan was completed 2015, 9 years ago. So for those of us who are naive in these matters, and you are one who has a background with DCED, is this a common strategy across the Commonwealth with counties? Do they do these strategic plans?
There is a group of counties, there are a group of counties that do these strategic plans. And the Department of Community and Economic Development considers a plan stale when it reaches 5 years. So our last one is stale.
And I would imagine the end goal here is to have an expert consultant come in, identify all the deficiencies in areas where we could be more efficient and utilize our money in a better manner. And then at the end of the day, the $113,000 fee would be more than made up down
Correct.
the road for 5 years.
And it isn't $113,000 for us.
Right, it's half.
Us taxpayers, it's half of that. yeah.
Right, right.
And you're absolutely right. They also will point out, they will also find and point out the strengths that we have to encourage us to continue to develop those
Right.
and to continue to use those to hopefully get rid of some of the deficiencies that we have.
Okay,
We'll
good.
probably have a 200 item list, I would think, at the end.
Right.
And what'll happen is the consultants will come in, they'll do interviews of various staff in the county, and they'll take a look at our finances with a fine-tooth comb. And then they will also meet with any of you who wish to meet with them to give your opinion so that you can provide your input.
Right.
And then when they have everything done, they'll develop a report, and they'll present the report to you.
Great.
To the council, to Ms. Crocomo, and that report will be pretty clear, and it gives you, all of us, the opportunity to ask any questions.
So our portion is roughly 56,000 spread over 5 years. That's roughly 11,000 a year. As I'm sure, it's going to more than pay for itself.
I think that it will. I mean, obviously I can't guarantee that,
Yeah.
but I really do think that that's the case. That's been my experience
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Mr. Perry.
Yes, that's right. It can, yes. And that would be the hope, that we would then be able to find some things that we wanted to do, some of the recommendations, and then we can get some more money to do that, yes. Well, yeah, because it's from this program. Yes.
Oh,
It's true, yes.
okay. All right. Any other comments by council members? All right.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Rose. Appreciate it. Council members, just a reminder, please use your microphones when you're speaking. Just the members of the public have a hard time on the Zoom hearing you. Next up, we have discussion regarding the resolution to abate delinquent Luzerne County taxes for the property located at Cary Avenue in the city of Wilkes-Barre.
This is a request from the city of Wilkes-Barre to abate delinquent taxes. We received the request and it's before council.
There's no one here from the city?
No.
No, but we met with the city, and it's because,
Thank you.
we met with the city, and Habitat for Humanity is going to redo those houses. So they'll be taken down and redone, and it will be housing that will then come back on the market when they're conveyed, and then we'll get full tax dollars on that.
Any other questions? All right. Discussion regarding the resolution authorizing the use of American Rescue Plan Act funds accrued interest for the purchase of work vehicles for the Luzerne County Road and Bridges Department.
Vince, you want to handle
Go
this?
ahead.
Hello, everyone. Since I started here in March We had some vehicles that were taken out of service. 5 of those vehicles were taken out of service last year, and basically what happened is we had some road and bridge vehicles that were non-inspectable anymore under the state standards. They had rotted frames, they had irreplaceable damage that was not able to allow these vehicles to be put back on the road. So since I've been here since March, I personally had a vehicle from Road and Bridge that I went out to look at a bridge. Coming back from there, I broke down. So it was a 2006 Chevrolet that we had, and most of the ones that we did take out of service last year were older vehicles, 2003, 4, 5, and 6, all the way up to 2008. So we haven't replaced any of these vehicles in many, many years. So with those 5 plus 1 now on top of it, it would help our department get a lot more work done if we had these 6 vehicles or 7 vehicles back in place. But when I went through this whole process, we took all the CoStar vendors in the area and we tried to look to see the vehicles that we could get that are already on their lots that would work for us. Because if you have to go and order from a specific dealer, Ford, Chevy, whoever, it's 2 years down the road before you see these vehicles. We can't wait another 2 years. We've already been a year away without these vehicles and we need them on the road. So the 3 dealers, actually I went to 4 dealers in the area. I went to Key Ford, I went to Valley Chevrolet, I went to, reached out to a dealer in Mount Pocono, Ray Price. And we were able to gather pricing and what kind of vehicles work for us that they had on the lot ready to roll. And I did a spreadsheet, came up with a calculation, and we took the 5 cheapest vehicles that were on the bid sheets. So with that being said, I hope we could use these funds to get these vehicles back on the road. Our road and bridge department really needs them, and it's important for us to have them.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions?
Are these mostly pickup trucks or small dump trucks, or what are they?
We did look at a small dump truck at Ray Price Ford. At the time, we didn't think it was a good fit for our programs that we have here. The other ones are, 2 of them are utility body, which are used by our foremans and our supervisors to be out on the road, and the other 3 are pickup style chassis.
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Krishnowski? Can you turn your mic on, please? Sorry, thank you.
I was just wondering, on the ones that you're going to get rid of, are you going to get any money for them? Because I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I believe that all the vehicles that we have, and I'm not 100% on it, but from what I understand is that the vehicles that we took out of service plus the equipment that we took out of service is all in the 44 property where the airport and the fields are. We have a small portion of land there that we put all our distressed vehicles that have to be either auctioned off or sold in the bid process. So we will be selling them at some point. I just don't know how that's going to work, if it's going to be an auctioneer that comes in and does it, or if it's going to be public bid.
But that would offset the cost of what we were
Absolutely.
paying for, so
Absolutely.
that's not
Yep.
a true amount then by
Yeah,
any means.
so we had 5 other heavy equipment vehicles that we purchased through grant money. The 5 old ones that we retired are in that pool of vehicles to be sold, along with the other 6 or 7 that came from Road and Bridge. There was some from the prisons. We took some out of service. There's a whole fleet of vehicles over there that need to be auctioned off or sold or put up for bid at whatever the process may be. So that money will be coming back into us.
Do you know
once
the
that's
time
being
frame
held.
on that? Is it going to be years?
I don't.
months, like-
No, it should be within the next 6 to 8 months, I would imagine.
Okay, thank you.
We have a policy of selling, how we sell county property. And we'll be working with the controller to make sure that whatever process we use is in conformity and will maximize the amount of money that we can retrieve.
That's what we like to hear.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, if there's nothing further, we'll have public comment. Anybody for public comment on the work session? Anybody on the Zoom? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion? Second? All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.